Ready to delve more into the subject of Tesla stock splits? 2 years later in 2024, at a price of $900 per share, Tesla stock was split 3-for-1 after first splitting 5-for-1 at a price of $2,000 per share in 2024. However, what if I told you, just like Morpheus did in The Matrix, that the next stock split might occur in 2024? What if I told you that there might be a method to use the knowledge of stock splits to strategically buy shares in order to cash out? Though it may seem too wonderful to be true, bear with me. This video will take you inside the world of Tesla stock splits and provide some fascinating information about the company's strategy, including their goal price range following the split and their preference for staying away from 4-digit stock values. We will go over everything. And if that's not enough, we will also look at estimates for Tesla's numbers related to manufacturing and delivery. But first, hit the like and subscribe buttons. Tesla's shares were split 5-for-1 in 2020 at a price per share of $2,000. As previously noted, the shares split 3-for-1 at $900 per share 2 years later in August of last year, 2022. What if I told you that in a year, there will be another stock split? I know this seems absurd, and I'm not expecting many of you to take me seriously. I thought I'd share with you some things I learned about Tesla stock split process before we go into estimates and numbers. When Tesla split its equity for the first time, a share cost $2,000. The price per share was almost exactly $1,000 the second time. This appears to be the company's way of saying, yep, we don't want to see Tesla stock in the 4 digits, which is in line with their prior preferences for stock prices. What could possibly motivate a firm that owns shares to desire 4-digit stock? I still think it's absurd to have shares worth thousands of dollars. Rather, I believe that the next split of Tesla stock will be in the upper hundreds. Though we're not positive, I'm betting for $800 per share. Another thing I discovered about Tesla stock is that the business does not want the price of its shares to fall below $200 following a stock split. Its lowest point is approximately $300. It's intriguing to think about this truth. We'll look more closely at these guidelines in this video. Initial projections indicate that there will be 14 million new cars on the road in 2030. Although I agree that 20 million is the intended number, I don't think it will happen by 2030 instead. I think it will happen in 2032 or 2030-33. Just to be cautious. Although we don't know how many customers are paying the FSD each month or have FSD subscription numbers, we're going to assume that 15% of all newly sold vehicles will convert to or pay the full $15,000 or whatever the FSD will be. Let's begin by projecting. An EPS of $45 for 2030. That may seem bullish to some, but I don't think it's justified. As early as this year, I believe Tesla's performance will wow us. It will be completely insane. So let's figure out how much the stock would cost and when a split will occur. As soon as you two are prepared. For 2022, we already know the answer, 50 PE or over $201 per share. However, given that we are still in a bear market and that the PE for 2023 is currently at approximately 60, this is still a very strong PE. Since we will almost certainly be in a bull market by the end of this year, or at least halfway through, I'm going to predict a PE of 60 here for 2023 as well. I hope that by the end of the year, interest rates will have been gradually reduced or even stopped and inflation will have been controlled. The Fed frequently changes course on these issues, so you can be sure that the Fed's actions in a year, or to put it another way, their 12-month target will be the catalyst for the next bull market. A $370 per share stock price is Gary Black's prediction. This suggests an astounding P of 74, which is absolutely absurd and values the business at $1.2 trillion. The stock price at a P of 50, in my opinion, would be about $400. However, as we saw during the bad market, the market may become crazy if we are in a bull market. As in, stocks like Netflix, Tesla, and Meta are down 80%. For what purpose? These people are machines that print money. Why must the price of their stocks drop by 80%? That's not grounded in any principles at all. It's sparked by fear. All of this is based on calculations and forecasts. Fear is driving everyone to sell. That means that I, you, he, and she all sell. You purchase, I buy, and the value of both keeps going up in a bull market. Companies such as Tesla usually trade in the low hundreds or low 200s if and when there is a stock split. As a result, it is easy to forecast that the stock price of the company would rise fourfold. Now, if you want to ride this bull market, the price per share will probably decrease to about $818 or 70p in 2025. As a precaution, the price per share may also drop to $240 on a 4-for-1 basis after a stock split in 2026. Ultimately, the price per share may fall to $273 or $250 on a 3.5-for-1 basis in 2027, unless there is another big drop such to what we had earlier this year, or even in late 2022. I do not personally see Tesla stock in the 30 PEs. After taking into consideration all of the splits, you could argue that by 2030, the stock will be worth $302 per share or a PE of 27. which is equivalent to $290 per share. I believe that Tesla's PE will stay in the low 20s for the remainder of this decade and the first half of the next if there isn't any significant innovation that might propel the company to even higher levels. Let's see if my estimate that the average price for this ticket will be in the low 30s for the next 10 years and in the mid 50s for the current one is accurate. When do I actually sense a stock split occurring? So let's go back a bit in this instance. My goal is a 60 PE of $300 per share in 2023. Based on my calculations, the stock price with a P of 50 in 2024 will be approximately $400. It will be approximately 45 in 2025. And with a P of 40 in 2026, it will most likely be approximately 6. It will most likely be approximately $700. Thus, if we maintain things at a base market that is not in a bull market nor a bear market, I believe that 2026 or 2027 could be the first year that a stock split is announced. That being said, a stock split would most likely occur in 2026 at a market valuation of over $2.5 trillion. I do know this: if Tesla splits its shares at these prices roughly between 2 and 300, it won't be the last time. In the long run, depending on growth, I predict that the corporation will split its stock twice more this decade and twice more in 2030. In the optimistic scenario, Tesla might divide its shares as soon as 2024, most likely before the end of that year. However, I think this is quite unlikely. Instead, when the stock hits $500 to $600 a share, which may happen at the end of this decade or perhaps in the early 2030s, that's when they'll split the stock next. To be honest, 26 seems like the sweet spot to me. I believe we should have completed a separation by now or be getting ready to do so by 2026, but I could be wrong and it could be in a year between 2025 and 2027. Although stock splits are always unpredictable, it makes sense for Tesla to want to maintain its 3-digit stock price since it maintains shares affordable for the average individual. I believe this forecast will hold up well, but we'll have to wait and see how well it develops in the next years. I appreciate you seeing. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons if you like this kind of stuff. I'll see you in the future video. Low 20s for the rest of this decade and the first part of the next if the company doesn't come up with a big new idea that could take it to even higher heights. Check to see if my guess that this ticket's average price will be in the low $30s for the next 10 years and in the mid $50s for this one is right. When do I really feel like a stock split is going to happen? In this case, let's go back a bit. In 2023, I want a 60 PE of $300 per share. From what I've learned, a stock with a P of 50 will be worth about $400 in 2024. There is a 40% chance that it will be around $700 in 2026. And it will be around 40% chance that it will be around 45 in 2025. In this case, if we keep the market at a base level, not in a bull or bear market, I think that a stock split could happen for the first time in 2026 or 2027. Having said that, a stock split is most likely to happen in 2026, when the market value is over $2.5 trillion. For sure, if Tesla splits its shares at these prices around $2,000 to $3,000 each, it won't be the last time. Long term, I think the company will split its stock twice more this decade and twice more in 2030. Based on how fast it grows. In the best case, Tesla could split its shares as early as 2024, but most likely not until after the end of that year. I don't think this will happen though. Instead, they will split the stock again when it reaches $500 to $600 a share, which could happen at the end of this decade or in the early 2030s. I really think that 26 is the best year. I think that we should have ended our relationship by now or be getting ready to end it by 2026. However, I could be wrong. And it could be any year between 2025 and 2027. Even though stock splits are always hard to predict, it makes sense for Tesla to want to keep its stock price in the teens because that keeps shares cheap for most people. I think this prediction will come true, but we'll have to see how well it works out over the next few years. Thank you for seeing. Just click like and subscribe if you like this kind of stuff. In the next movie, I'll see you.